Thank you for tuning in to Koppen with Comic. I'm Brian Koppen, and we're here with comic Matt Dietz. Matt Dietz, how the hell are you?
I'm great. How you doing, Brian? Thanks for having me.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much for coming on. I know we follow you at Matthew Dietz7 on Twitter and also matthew.dietz.comedy on Instagram, but also Laughing Matters NYC.
Yes, sir. Laughing Matters is been doing that for a couple years now with a couple of my best friends in comedy. We've been producing comedy shows and open mics and just generally having fun and getting out there. So it's a lot of fun.
Good. Yeah, I'm looking at you right now. I'm looking at you got Casey Bauer and Matt Dietz and Austin Anderson.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Nice. And how do you kind of choose those people to link up with? How did you know that they'd be not only funny, but professional with a work ethic that lends itself well to producing comedy shows all over the city?
So it was interesting because we found an opportunity to start an open mic. And as new comics, we had been to other open mics and seen other people do it and stuff. And the three of us not only have great communication and personal skills, but we also all have regular 9-to-5s.
Yes.
So starting a producing company where we were, fine putting in some of our own money, as well as not, relying on attendance for anything, allowed us to really just kind of do this for the love of the game and for being able to give back to the community and create a good environment for everyone where we're not really in it to make money. We're just here to have fun and showcase others,
Yeah, that can affect things, especially the timing of your mics. Like I had Michael Lee on earlier today, and I thought he said his mic might be Wednesday at noon because that's when he is available. And so yeah, what time was your mic usually before the pandemic, and is it carrying over into online Zoom, etc.?
Yeah, so before the pandemic, we were. It's kind of, I know the pandemic is sad for everybody, but we were actually.
it's kind of funny. I mean, let me say first that it's sad, but it's kind of funny.
Yeah, it was. I was so happy. We were riding sky high. We had 3 open mics a week at 3 different places, and it was 2 in the Upper East Side and 1 in Jersey City, where I live. And they were all after work, and we're all. The Upper East Side ones were packed and stuff, and the Jersey City one was just getting off the ground when everything shut down. So it is what it is. We were doing virtual open mics on Mondays and Wednesdays, and they were a lot more packed at the start of the pandemic when people were starting to do it. But now that there's outdoor mics and things and stuff, where there are a little less people coming, and it's fine because people are actually getting out there and being able to do things outdoors again. But we still run a Thursday show every Thursday, and that's a lot of fun.
And that's virtual, or that's in New York City?
So it's virtual. We haven't branched out into in-person stuff yet, but it's a virtual show. But we try to make it a little more fun than just a regular stand-up show. We do. In the beginning, Austin and I do topical jokes together, just kind of like a weekend update kind of news segment, which is a lot of fun. Okay. And then we do some sketches. Sometimes we have somebody come on and do songs, like pre-recorded sketches that people want to get out there. And we broadcast that live over Facebook and Instagram at Laughing Matters NYC.
That's cool. I was suggesting for people to do that. I think with Frank Vignola, because he was, doing the comedy festival, and it was just hundreds of comics or whatever. And I thought, what's a way for people to do that if they are homebound? And I suggested comedy couples, and you could even do, interstitials or small skits with these romantic comedy partners doing little video skits and submitting them. So I love the fact that you're actually allowing people to kind of, run their pre-recorded segments during your open mic. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's so fun. And because everyone, especially nowadays, who's a comic, has other ventures that they're doing, and they do improv, or they do sketch, or they do music. There's not a lot of people that are just solely focused on one thing. If you're a performer at heart, and you want to get your stuff out there. So it's a lot of fun, and it opens doors for me. I mean, I hadn't done sketch until we started airing on that. I've done a couple, and it's fun. it's cool.
Yeah. And I mean, and I guess it leads me to the question of how you're running it. Like, how is that, and I guess you're somebody who, is a professional at IT. So maybe you're the guy to do this perfectly, but how do you even take a Zoom show where you see all, everybody's face on the Zoom window or whatever, and then run a pre-recorded segment for everybody? Is there kind of just a button you push on Zoom or what?
So what we do is we ask that everybody for the recorded segments for everyone to have their cameras off. And then we just share screen and share a YouTube video. We're still working on the best way to do it because sometimes it works really well, but sometimes the network's a little iffy with it. But then we, I'll post links to the YouTube video and stuff afterward if it skips or messes up. So there's still some technical issues that can happen. I mean, Zoom is it is what it is. They were not ready for whatever the 8 billion people that decided that this is the best thing to use during Corona.
Zoom is like, really? Maybe everybody could adopt this slightly slower so we could work.
Exactly. But I mean, that's a great problem to have for any company.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, but it's cool. It's cool to know that you are one of the trailblazers trying to figure out how to incorporate pre-recorded kind of YouTube comedy, etc., or Instagram comedy into the Zoom format. So if anybody's there to figure it out, it's you. And I guess, let's talk about your day job real quick, because I think you're a big program manager at a bank or something. And how does that relate to producing comedy shows? I mean, are you able to find any parallels between the two?
For sure. This is, it was kind of like the same thing with networking comedy. My job at work is to network for my team. And so my team will develop like an IT solution for the bank. And then I have to go and find the users who want to use it and teach them how to use it and demo it and stuff. But more than that, the way that I find it similar to producing is that I give some of the developers who spent the time making this IT solution a chance to present on it to the users or to, I've actually built out like a community within the bank of other developers who are interested in stuff. And just giving the platform for these other people to shine and show off their work is very similar to the comedy producing of finding someone who may be a newer comic at an open mic or on a virtual show and being like, you know what, I believe in this person and they deserve to, show off the hard work that they've been doing.
That's cool. And so we can trust that Laughing Matters NYC has an infrastructure that's going to take somebody who kills at an open mic, a Laughing Matters open mic, and maybe bump them up into a certain spot that's maybe lower profile, but on a real bar show or something.
For sure. For sure.
And so what are you looking for? I mean, are you looking for just, is it anybody who's quality and polished and they have a unique point of view? Or is it just this person seems to have a lot of fans, so let's put them on, or what?
So we actually, because I said about the three of us having jobs, and we have all worked in corporate before and know, and then also trying to do that outside, do like bringer shows and things, try to eliminate that because the money wasn't a factor. And so we tried to market our own shows and reach out to, we had connections in the Yonkers community when we were doing a bar show up there. There's a Yonkers like community organization that would advertise for us, and we would get people through that and print flyers and whatnot, reach out to local blogs and things. So having other people who have fans is fine. Like that's great for them and stuff, but that's not necessarily the reason why we would, bring them in. It's just people who work hard and that we enjoy.
Yeah.
We want to be like it's different now, but it's virtual because we haven't started back up in live, but like we wanted to bring the audience for them.
Yeah, I see people like Eric Angel and Carly Montag. Some former guests who are jumping on those shows, and so that's kind of an example of people who were quality. That may also have a fan base, but that wasn't really the governing factor for why you picked them. It's just that they're badass comedy people. Exactly,
and both of them were regulars at our mics and are sweethearts. It was very fun working with both of them.
Yeah, that makes a difference too. I guess that's my question. Like, okay, well, if having their own built-in natural market of fans or whatever is irrelevant and being a great comic is, almost dispositive or determinative, how big of out of 100, if being a badass comedy is maybe a 90, is being easy to work with the other 10%, or not really? Or is it more 50-50?
Um,
You're like, well, this is
you
a
know,
good person. They'll figure out the comedy chops eventually. Let's make a 50-50 type thing.
so uh, the comedy chops is whether or not they belong on a show,
Yeah.
and then whether or not they're a good person and fun to be around and easy to work with and professional is whether or not we want them on the show.
So meaning it's almost like they have to have both.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like, as I said, like my job at work is to be a networker. And so, like I like being friendly with everybody. Like there's a reason that that's my job, is because I just love talking to people and befriending people. And so, I expect the same friendliness back. And that's kind of the vibe that we gave, at our mic, was that we're just all here to have a good time, you know?
Yeah, I love that too, because they probably act accordingly. If you guys are some gatekeepers who are just good people, they're going to be like, well, let me act like a good person. And, there's no incentive to act like a hard ass if the people running it are not being hard ass themselves. I just had John Fox on, and he said something like, there was an open mic that he was thinking about going to, and the guy wanted a fucking tape to be joined to the open mic, and you're like, go fuck yourself, man. I'll swing a dead cat and see 20 other open mics that are within walking distance.
Oh man. So this is, I guess, humble brag, but at our mic, we used to videotape everyone's sets and send that to them afterward for free.
Oh, that's cool.
And so it's the complete total opposite. It's like, no, you're here to get better at comedy. To get better at comedy, you should look at your set. We can tape it for you. Like,
that's cool. Because even
airdrop it to you on the way out.
Yeah, because even he was like, that's why I'm doing this, so that I can get material for a tape. And it sounds like you guys are doing that as part of Laughing Matters.
Yeah.
And so what I mean, as far as pre-pandemic and hopefully post-pandemic, when you guys are back in person and once summer comes around again, like, are you going to have several locations and grow that Jersey show? Because I think James Mack has a variety of shows that are in both New York City and New Jersey. Yeah.
So the specific place that we're working with in Jersey City seems to have closed down for good because of Corona, which sucks. But we will definitely be back up and running with our connections in our other areas when it's safer to do indoor stuff, or maybe next spring when some of these places are happier about doing outdoor comedy.
Kate Hester really has vouched for Jersey City being a badass place.
Oh yeah, no, Kate is fantastic. So it's because it's so funny because like I'll like I run into her like anytime like I walk downtown, like I'm and it's like, oh my god, there's Kate, and it's like she's so awesome.
And then it's like, and then you're going to New York shows and you're running into her there
exactly
too. And I think I said something where it's during the Kate Hester episode, I said my experience with Jersey is and I think maybe a couple people's experience with New Jersey might be the same as mine, which is when you're moving from the West Coast or the Midwest, in my case, you're driving through it. And it's not, I don't even think you're driving through Jersey City. I was driving through something that looked like fucking bombed out Pittsburgh, bunch of bridges and refineries. And my opinion of New Jersey got kind of tanked as a result. I mean, are you even familiar with what part of New Jersey people typically drive through to get to the tunnel or whatever?
So the Holland Tunnel comes out of Jersey City. So that's right on the border of Jersey City and Hoboken.
Yeah, because I think that's nice. But is there anywhere, I don't know, maybe west of there that might be a little bit Pittsburgh looking with its bridges and refineries, etc.?
So that's Newark that you're probably thinking of.
See, automatically people drive through Newark and they're like, I don't know if I'll be going to New Jersey that much. But then you look across the river at some of these places and you're like, that's gorgeous. I don't mind getting on the PATH train to that.
No, and Newark's going to be on its way up next soon. It's so weird because like I'm from South Jersey. I'm a Jersey boy. I'm pride for my state. But like Jersey City and Hoboken and Weehawken and stuff have all been in the last 10, 15 years really, really coming up. And the PATH train, it's just like we're closer to New York City than like Brooklyn. Like it's so
yeah.
But people just have that disdain for New Jersey, which sucks.
Yeah.
The part that really gets me is that there's I used to work in Westchester, Pennsylvania, right outside Philly, and it was the same thing in Pennsylvania. They were like, yeah, New Jersey sucks, and I can't believe that you're from Jersey, yada yada yada. And then they would go on vacation to the Jersey Shore. It's like, you can't say it sucks and then spend your free time there. Like,
Yes. And it's also cheaper, and the view is just as good. But also, like, I think were they going to shut down that train between Manhattan and Williamsburg? Was the gray L line or whatever that was?
Yeah.
Did they do that?
I think so.
Yeah, and even that takes you to an expensive ass neighborhood. But one thing I noticed with, even enclaves in Brooklyn, it's like, yeah, this little Park Slope might be nice, or this little Williamsburg might be nice, but it's actually surrounded by warehouses. Like it's fucking gross. And so, the fact that you guys have Newark adjacent to it is not, really that different from certain enclaves in New Jersey. But back to Laughing Matters and things like that. What's the next thing we can expect? Is like, Thursday? Is that the I think this episode will be up on a Wednesday. So tomorrow night you got a mic coming on?
So on Thursdays at 7 p.m. are our live shows. That's where the Facebook and Instagram. So follow us on there and look for some fun. And then there's also the shows are individual segments are posted up there, so you can go and see past shows and past clips and sketches and things.
And so that's a live show and that's not a mic?
No. So the mics are Mondays and Wednesdays at 6:30.
Okay, and those are those able to be streamed, or those are just kind of remote?
You're not
even kind of recording those and putting those on?
No, those are just workshops for comics.
Yeah.
Yep. It's
would that kill it? Would the interest in your open mics be less if people knew that their workshopping would be recorded for all posterity?
That's very interesting.
Probably, right?
Probably. That's something as a program manager, my mind immediately goes to, well, why don't we send out a user survey and ask them?
And is some of this infrastructure, like, maybe you're the sales guy instead of the technical sales guy, but meaning, like, if there's some developers, they might see things kind of spatially. If I sketch something out, I know it forever. So sometimes I need something sketched out for me. Like, is your brain spatially arranged? And so if I think of the link between doing well at your open mic and being bumped up to your Thursday show, Laughing Matters Live, like, is that something that you view spatially, or are you more of a network guy in terms of you like talking to people?
I'm definitely more of a network guy. I've seen you here. I've seen you trying hard. You're nice, and you're at our mics and having fun. Let's go.
Yeah, and you got some great comedians on here. You got Ronnie Pascal on there. Previous show I had James Mack, and then Oscar Aiden. I think he's the guy who might have knocked off. He might have knocked off Usama Siddiqui on Tom Mondesi's show. So you got some big time names. Are you giving yourself a spot, or are you hosting?
So I host, or I always do the topicals at least. We try to keep our show under an hour, and so it's really like the sketches and stuff in the beginning for half an hour, and then 3 comics at the end for half an hour. Because it's virtual and stuff. You don't expect people to stay watching the show for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Like, you're asking people to watch a movie at that point. I'll give myself a spot when I have new material, or I'll host when I have new material, but it's really more about the other comics. I can do, my spots on other people's shows.
Dude, hell yeah. And then you're doing some sketch work. I think the previous show had you doing sketch work with Austin Anderson. I think he's one of your co-founders in Laughing Matters?
Correct. Yep.
And then are you doing some more sketch on Thursday show?
Probably. One of the things that I've been doing right now is satirical commercials. So I do like voiceovers. I find it so funny. I do generic commercials, and so I just made fun of car commercials, and it was really just like little clips of cars and stuff, and it was like, cars, they're fast, they drive everywhere. They can take you someplace or your things someplace.
Yes, I love those. I loved commercials for just generic items rather than branded items. That's great.
Exactly. At the end, we just listed every car dealership we could think of. Was just, you can find a car here. Like, it's not for anything specific at all. And sometimes commercials seem that way, where it's like, what the hell are they really advertising on this?
Yeah, and I was thinking, I think this is going to be the opportunity for you guys to get sponsored by a car dealership. What do you think? And they're like, you don't
Hell
really,
yeah.
yeah, you don't really get the joke, guy. It's like, this is about the cars in general, not Bob Nissan or whatever. So okay, yeah,
Exactly.
we follow you everywhere. We're going to check out this Laughing Matters NYC on Instagram is the link for the show, which is I think should be tomorrow night, Thursday. But regardless, it's a regular Thursday show, and you got your mics I think on Monday and Wednesday.
Correct. Correct.
Ooh,
Yes.
hell yes, to track him everywhere. He's the guy to know because if you want a great show in New York City or Jersey post pandemic, he's the guy. On Twitter, he's Matthew Dietz7, and on Instagram, he's matthew.dietz.comedy. So Matt Dietz, thank you so much for coming on.
I had a blast. Thank you so much, Brian.